We got a Dame Sarr update for you, and it is the expected Dame Sarr update. I love it when it goes that way. 2 days ago, we told you that Dame Sarr was going to have another twist and turn in his very wild recruitment. Everyone thought he would commit to Kansas, and it was imminent off of his visit to Lawrence. Well, people were backing off of that. There was the Travis Branham report that, hey, this is a really confusing recruitment, and things have shifted rapidly here. The expectation when that was reported 2 days ago was that Duke may have something to do with it. And now we seemingly have confirmation that Duke is involved in this Dame Sarr development. Two crystal balls have been placed for Duke to land five-star Dame Sarr. This would be Chad Likens and John Watson, both of whom are contributors with 24/7. Both of them have placed a Duke crystal ball as of yesterday evening. The Duke will land Dame Sarr. Speculation, again, if you're just catching up to speed, is that Duke had put some feelers out for Dame about a month ago when it was an option after he was no longer going to go to Illinois. And Dame was very interested. But Duke landed Cedric Coward. And when they got Cedric Coward, they're like, yeah, we don't need Dame Sarr. Dame was like, okay, I'll visit Kansas. You do the math on this. As Cedric Coward shines at the combine, now Dame Sarr is getting crystal ball back to Duke. This is what's happening, right? This is pretty
Yeah.
clear on this. That's the interpretation.
Yeah. Branham can say that it's a complicated recruitment and all this stuff. It's not complicated. Duke has an opening now. So they're they're going after him hard. That's what it comes down to. That's all this boils down to.
Okay, let me make it complicated.
Okay.
Has John Shire straight up said you can commit today? Yes or no?
I think they're probably waiting for Coward before that, which is probably why Sarr has not committed yet. But I also think that indicates that Sarr would rather be at Duke than Kansas.
It does, and I want to flesh that part out because that part's fascinating to me. But okay, so I agree with you. I think that's what's going on. Shire's very clearly like, oh yeah, Plan B, good Plan B over here, but Plan B,
Yeah.
Plan B, Plan B. And Dame Sarr, I don't think knows what Plan B means. I think he's like, ooh, I'm Plan bona fide superstar, awesome. No, they're not prioritizing you, Dame. They haven't prioritized you. They wish that you were Cedric Coward. But Cedric Howard is doing so good this week that now they got to come crawling back to the X here. Look,
But can
John,
you take that offensively given how well Coward has done this week?
you know, okay, no, maybe not. However, if I'm Dame Sarr, drop myself in his shoes. I think if I go to the draft this year, I'm picked before Cedric Howard is. Why am I the second option? I'm a lottery pick. I'm not a fringe first rounder. What are we doing here?
Are you?
I think that's his.
And is Coward not a lottery pick?
We're going to find out, right? Cedric has really helped his stock. I don't know that Dame has, but look, here's my whole just thing with this. I don't understand Dame Sarr. And I don't want to act like waiting for Duke or going to Duke over Kansas is a bad decision. It's not. If I had an offer from Duke in Kansas, depending on the logistics, if all things were equal, I'd probably pick Duke, play with the Boozers, Isaiah Evans. That team's going to be awesome. Brotherhood, all that, rah, rah. Okay. But I feel like Dame Sarr has consistently made decisions that are to his own detriment since we discovered that Dame Sarr was considering college in the last 6 months. He seemingly had this huge relationship with Illinois. It was a done deal. Long before Andrej Stojakovic was even an option, that was going to be the star. And at the very last second, Dame Sarr and his camp are just like, no, 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 no. We need more. We need more. They burned a bridge. Illinois backed off of it. While they burned that bridge, they burned the bridge with FC Barcelona, who he was in the rotation for on the biggest FC Barcelona team at the time by coming to the combine. And FC Barcelona was pissed publicly about this. They locked him out of the gym and basically released him from the program. So I look at what happened to him with Barca. I look at what happened to him with Illinois. Now you throw Kansas into this mix where he presumably verbally committed to Kansas. Is that a visit in close? Everyone's expecting a commitment. The posts are written. And oh no, no, John Shire says I might be able to go to Duke, so never mind. Like one by one by one, he's leading people on and pulling the rug out from under Lucy with the football. And I don't think any of these decisions have helped him. That's the thing. I don't think like doing that to Illinois or Barca has helped his draft stock. So he's gonna end up at Duke. Maybe, maybe not. What if Cedric Coward pulls a fast one here and is like, you know what? I want to go to the Brotherhood. Did Dame just burn his bridge with Kansas now? Like, it's crazy to me.
I don't know. He's good enough to where if he burns his bridge with Kansas and Coward somehow comes back to school, that he will land somewhere. There are still teams with scholarships, still teams with roles,
Jerome
still notable
Tang,
programs, notable coaches. Will Wade,
that would be the perfect fitting ending to this. Is Dame Sarr gets stuck with Will Wade for a year?
yeah, yeah.
But like, I don't want to see that, right?
No, and Sarr doesn't want that, right? Sarr doesn't want that either. But at the same time, if you are just comparing Kansas and Duke at the moment, Kansas is coming off of back-to-back disappointing seasons with very talented rosters that were preseason top-ranked teams. Duke has one of the best young coaches in the country who can't stop producing NBA talent and NBA draft picks. Like Duke's gonna have 3 lottery picks, 3 top 10 picks potentially in this draft. A year after they produced Jared McCain with a down roster, right? So like this is I think he sees that as something that he wants and he's gonna wait for it.
Okay, I can respect that. I can. Can we flesh out the Duke versus Kansas decision?
Yes.
This video is presented by Underdog Fantasy, and they've got a free pick tonight that you're going to want to take advantage of. Anthony Edwards to score over 0.5 points. Ant scores every single playoff game, as far as I know. Card, has he ever not scored?
Not since I've been alive, and that's 32 years for those wondering out there.
That pick sounds extremely free. Promo code SLEEPERS as a first-time depositor at Underdog Fantasy. You can get up to $1,000 in bonus bets and a free pick. This is the shortest ad read we've ever done. You're welcome. Back to the video. So in one hand, Ralph, I have come to Kansas, be the second option behind Darren Peterson and in between Flory Badunga. Your depth chart that you're competing with is Trey White and Melvin Council. And we've got money for you. Featured at Kansas. In option 2, I have, hey, if our priority guy doesn't want to be here, you can come here. And you'll be somewhere in the mix between both Boozers and Isaiah Evans and Nick Kamenia and Caleb Foster. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We like you. We don't love you. We love Cedric Coward, but you can come here. Maybe. Which one of those 2 options is better? Come on, what are we doing?
The option of Duke though is I think a better path for development than Kansas is at the moment.
That's a shot at Bill Self.
Bill Self would take that same shot at him the last 2 years.
I don't know if I agree.
This time last year, we thought AJ Storr might be a first round pick because of what he was going to do at Kansas.
Okay, I think there were some problems with AJ Storr that pre-existed, but I'm not giving.
Well, yes, but like
Self, yeah.
There were so many like the last 2 years we've thought that Kansas was going to be things that they never ended up being because guys, particularly at Sarr's position, did not produce and did not develop.
But that's winning. That's not, I don't think that's player development on the wing. He's put Grady Dick into the league and he's awesome in the league. He's put Johnny
Oh,
Furphy
yeah,
in the league
but
in a
that's
year.
3-4 years ago now.
No, these are all in the last 3 years. Furphy Dick. Who was last year? I guess nobody last year.
Furphy, you could do Furphy. I think Furphy works, but what's held Kansas back is that they've had talented wings that did not develop, did not produce.
Yeah, I think the argument is more that Bill Self thought DeJuan Harris and KJ Adams and Hunter Dickinson was a great core to build around, and none of those guys are pros, and there was never going to be development there. So, like, look, we're past that era now. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah.
We'll see. But
But if Sarr is not great at making decisions, that he's looking at just the you've produced nothing and Duke has produced everything.
that's true. I don't want to knock the idea of going to Duke. And if this is what is happening, if Duke is just going to waltz in and scoop up Dame Sarr while they're not even letting Dame Sarr commit right now, by the way, like if that's really the logistics of this,
Yeah.
John Shire should literally put Bill Self on a leash. And I don't know. Bill Self, like, what'd you do? Just bend over for John Shire to do whatever he wants here? It's crazy to me. This is Kansas we're talking about. This isn't supposed to happen to Kansas. And it would be one thing if this was heads up for the same role with the same sense of urgency, but it's not. Kansas is offering a huge role, featured abilities, presumably a lot of money, commit today. And Duke is like, yeah, wait, you'll be our fourth or fifth guy. Yeah, we like you. And he wants Duke. That's crazy to me. It's an accomplishment for John Shire. But man, it fascinates me because number one, Kansas should also have more money than Duke right now. And if they don't, I've got questions on what's going on at Kansas, quite frankly, because this is not a recruitment you should lose to a school that is slow playing the spot.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. But Kansas has not been Kansas for a year and a half now. Like in terms of what we typically expect from them. We thought they fixed that with the portal last year when Bill Self was kind of like, all right, I'm picking you, I'm picking you, I'm picking you, and you're coming. And it didn't work.
Yeah.
So something's up at Kansas. Because Badunga, who you just mentioned, also hit the portal.
And they got him back, but you're right.
They got him back, but something there just is not the way Kansas was the standard for 2 decades under Bill Self. But
Yeah.
something's not the same recently there, and I don't know exactly what that is.
I used to call him Dollar Bill Self. Are you implying this is counterfeit Bill?
No, I just wonder if he spent it, and it's just not it doesn't have the same shine
Oh,
or it didn't inflate.
that was a bar. That was really nice. Okay, quick hitters for me before we wrap this conversation. We all expect him to go to Duke. How quickly do you think this happens?
I would say probably within 2 weeks because I think Coward's going to get some feedback from NBA teams and he's going to officially announce he's staying in the draft. And then at that point, Sarr probably commits a day or two later.
So you think we still are waiting? Do you think if Duke has the means, I don't know if they do or not. If Duke has the means, couldn't they just take both of these guys? Or do you think that's just too much?
I think they got one spot.
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
they got one spot.
Okay. What is Duke next season with Cedric Coward?
Duke with Cedric Coward, I think, is the up there with Louisville in terms of the ACC favorites, and perhaps probably ahead of Louisville and in the Final Four championship caliber conversation.
Top five-ish team nationally?
Yeah, yeah.
What is Duke with Dame Sarr instead of Cedric Coward?
I think top 15, and
Ooh.
but this is more of what I think of Coward than what I necessarily think of Sarr. I think there are some potential issues with Duke. You need a lot of guys to hit that are not Cooper Flag.
Interesting. So I love Coward. I don't want to come across like I'm coming negative on Coward. It surprises me how many people think Coward is significantly better than Sarr. I don't think that would have been the consensus a month ago. I don't think it would be the consensus if he committed to Alabama. Now, I get he looks great at the combine. He's tested incredibly, and we're hearing now that NBA teams adore this guy. So they adore him more than they adore Sarr by the sounds of it. But to me, the biggest difference between Coward and Sarr from a Duke standpoint is that I just trust Coward as a person so much. Like you listen to this kid talk, he's like Mr. Glue Guy, Mr. Maturity, such a genius guy, unselfish, all of that. Dame Sarr is none of those things. And I don't mean to shit on a kid, but there is baggage with Dame Sarr. There just is.
Yeah.
The last year, it is well documented that this guy has burned every bridge that he's come across.
Yeah.
And that would scare me. I don't think talent-wise there's a huge difference here, but you're trying to build a brand new locker room around a bunch of freshmen again. The Boozers are great
Yes.
personalities. Throw Sarr in there, it gets interesting, I think.
I think so too. I think there's the chance that happens. You're going to rely on some of those sophomores and probably Caleb Foster to be a leader in a way that he didn't have to be last year. I also think too with the Coward and Sar thing, Sar is still much more of a project, and I think Coward was viewed as that. But what changed last month is we saw Coward probably is not as much of a project as we thought he was. The project is to get to the ceiling, which who knows what that is now, but I think the floor is higher than we thought it was.
Yeah, that's fair. Can I propose what Duke should do?
Yes.
Just take Caleb Foster off scholarship, make him full-time podcaster walk on, and bring in Sarr and Coward. We don't like that plan, Ralph?
Not for the brotherhood vibes.
I guess that's true. I guess that's true. All
They don't
right.
kick people out. They just tell Jeremy Roach he's not coming back.
So you're 100% in it's gonna be Duke.
Yeah. Unless something happens with Kansas that is undeniable, but I would be shocked if it's not Duke.
Sorry, I just had to pull out and dust off my body language PhD for a moment. Um, I think he's got one more trick in the bag here. And I don't know it's necessarily going to be Sarr's doing himself, but here would be my gut feel guess on this. Sarr thinks he's going to end up at Duke. Coward's going to shock everyone and go to Duke. Sarr will no longer have a spot at Duke. Sarr will have burned his bridge with Kansas. And we will reset this 2 weeks from now when Dame Sarr has now burned through his fourth program in a 3-month span, and we'll see who calls him 2 weeks from now. That's my gut feel.
It'll be Michigan when Nashville stays in the draft, and you will suddenly love Sar.
Honestly, take another recruit from Illinois. I could live with that.